Alright, so let me break this down like I'm your bestie filling you in during lunch break. The Outsiders kicks off with Ponyboy Curtis, our main dude and the narrator, walking home alone from the movies. He's all about that film nerd life, constantly daydreaming and vibing with whatever scene he's imagining in his head. Pony's got this low-key artsy energy, but don't get it twisted, he's part of the Greasers, the gang that's all about leather jackets, slick back hair, and being the underdog. Think Stranger Things vibes if the Upside Down was just a metaphor for class struggle. Anyway, this Greaser Socs rivalry is so intense it makes a PvP battle in League of Legends look tame. Pony's walking home, minding his own business, when bam, a group of Socs pulls up in their swanky blue Mustang. The Socs are the rich, preppy crew who think they run the whole city. These dudes are basically the mean jocks from every high school drama ever. They jump Ponyboy because, well, existing as a greaser apparently offends them. They're like, how dare you be poor and breathe our air? Pony tries to fight back, but it's 4-1, and things are looking rough. Just when you think it's game over for our guy, his greaser crew shows up to save the day, ready to throw hands. We're talking Derry, Pony's older brother who's got don't mess with me energy, and Soda Pop, the middle bro who's a total heartthrob. Plus, there's the whole squad, Johnny, 2-Bit, Dally, and Steve. It's like an Avengers Assemble moment, but with more pomade and switchblades. Derry's super ticked off at Pony for walking home alone, which, like, valid, dude almost got turned into roadkill. But Pony's just annoyed because Derry is always in Big Brother mode, yelling about responsibility and all that. Side note, Derry's basically the dad of the family since their parents died in a car crash, so he's got a lot on his plate. Soda Pop, on the other hand, is the chill bro who's like, don't stress, Pony. Life's short. Also, I'm ridiculously good looking, so let's focus on that. The next day, Ponyboy and Johnny hang out with Dallas Winston, or Dally for short. Dally's that guy who gives chaotic neutral energy, he's rough, always looking for trouble, and doesn't care about rules. He's the type to play Grand Theft Auto IRL and call it a Tuesday. Anyway, they head to the drive-in movies, because that's what you do when you're broke but still want to have a good time. There, they meet two SOC girls, Cherry and Marcia, who are way cooler than your average rich kids. Cherry's rocking this fiery red hair that totally matches her personality, she's not afraid to call out Dally for being a creep when he's acting like a total troll. Respect. Johnny, sweet cinnamon roll that he is immediately crushing on Cherry because, well, who wouldn't? She's confident, smart, and not looking down on them for being greasers. Pony and Cherry hit it off too, bonding over sunsets and how they both hate the whole SOC greaser feud. It's like they're realizing that, plot twist, rich kids and poor kids aren't all that different, except for, you know, money and social status. Cherry even drops this whole deep, poetic line about how things are rough all over, and Pony's like, whoa, she's spitting facts. Meanwhile, Dally's being his usual edgy self, trying to mess with everyone's vibe, but Johnny, who's normally quiet and shy, stands up to him. It's a big deal because Johnny's usually too scared to even make eye contact with people after a past run-in with some Socs who beat him up so badly he's been traumatized ever since. Like, this kid carries a knife now just to feel semi-safe. So when Johnny tells Dally to back off, everyone's like, oh snap, he's serious. Eventually, the girls' SOC boyfriends, Bob and Randy, show up, all puffed up and ready to start drama. These guys are peak rich kid villains, they've got expensive cars, cocky smirks, and a sense of entitlement that makes you want to throw hands. Cherry and Marcia don't want to fight, though, so they leave with their boyfriends to avoid things escalating. Ponyboy is bummed, but he gets it. Cherry even tells him that if she sees him at school, she might not say hi because of the whole greaser SOC divide. It's harsh, but real, she's caught between two worlds, and that's not easy. Later, Pony and Johnny hang out in the park, talking about life and how their worlds feel so messed up. Pony's still mad at Derry for always being on his case, and Johnny's dealing with, well, everything, his abusive home life, the Socs who almost killed him, and just the general struggle of being a greaser. It's one of those late-night talks where you get all up in your feels, and honestly, you kind of love them for it. They're just two kids trying to make sense of a world that feels stacked against them. That's the gist of chapters 1 and 2, a mix of drama, danger, and deep conversations that set up the whole vibe of The Outsiders. It's like stepping into a retro RPG where every choice feels heavy, and every character is fighting their own battle. Ponyboy's just trying to survive, keep his family together, and maybe find a way to bridge the gap between greasers and Socs, if that's even possible. The stakes? High. The feels? Even higher. And trust me, this ride is just getting started. Alright, so buckle up because chapters 3 and 4 of The Outsiders are a roller coaster, and not the fun, let's scream on Splash Mountain kind. This is more like, oh, the tracks are broken, and someone's losing their mind. It's wild. So, after Cherry and Marcia leave with their rich boy crew, Ponyboy, Johnny, and 2-Bit are just hanging, shooting the breeze, trying to shake off the drama. Cherry, who is somehow the realest and most complicated SOC ever, low-key tells Ponyboy that she could totally vibe with him if things were different. Like, if life were an episode of The Bachelor, she might be handing him a rose. But nope, she's stuck in this tangled SOC greaser mess. Then she drops the bomb that Bob, the main SOC jerk with the fancy rings who beat up Johnny, is her boyfriend. Yep, the human embodiment of a red flag. Ponyboy is just like, wow, Cherry, you sure know how to pick 'em. After that, Pony and Johnny decide to stay out a little longer instead of going home. They're in this quiet, chill park, just kicking back and talking about life, big brain conversations, too, like how sunsets look the same on both sides of town. It's sweet and kind of sad, like they both know they're living in this trash system that keeps them locked into their roles, but they're dreaming anyway. Pony even goes into his family drama, spilling tea about how Derry's been riding him so hard lately. Like, Pony feels invisible in his own house, even though Soda Pop's always there trying to play peacekeeper. It's giving middle child syndrome energy. But hold up, just when it's starting to feel all warm and philosophical, who rolls up? The Socs, of course, because they can't let the greasers have one single peaceful moment. Bob, Randy, and their crew roll in like it's Mario Kart and they've got nothing better to do than wreck someone's night. They're drunk, loud, and looking for trouble. Bob is all, hey, you punks think you can talk to our girls? And Pony's like, bruh, chill, you don't even own Cherry. But Socs don't chill. That's their whole thing. Things escalate faster than a Call of Duty match when someone camps your respawn point. Bob and his boys grab Pony and start dunking his head into a fountain, and we're talking full-on waterboarding vibes. Pony can't breathe, and Johnny's watching this go down like, oh no, not again. Johnny's been jumped before, and he's not about to let history repeat itself. So, in the most quiet kid goes feral moment ever, Johnny whips out his switchblade and stabs Bob. Like, actually stabs him. Bob drops, dead as a doorknob, and everyone else freaks out and runs. It's basically the reverse of Among Us. Everyone knows who the imposter is, but no one wants to stick around and report the body. So now it's just Pony and Johnny, standing there with this dead SOC at their feet, and both of them are in full panic mode. Pony's coughing up water, Johnny's shaking, and the whole scene is straight out of a gritty crime drama. They're like, we gotta bounce, now. Johnny, who's way too calm for someone who just committed manslaughter, decides they need to find Dally. Why Dally? Because if there's anyone who knows how to deal with murder, it's the guy who probably has a getaway driver achievement unlocked IRL. They track down Dally at Buck Merrill's place, which is basically a sketchy party house where Dally crashes sometimes. Buck's got this whole outlaw cowboy vibe, and honestly, if this were an anime, he'd be the dude rocking sunglasses indoors and a cigarette that never burns out. Dally's not surprised by the chaos, in fact, he's almost impressed. He's like, y'all killed a SOC? Bold move, my dudes. Then he slides them a gun, some cash, and instructions to hop on a train and hide out at an abandoned church in the countryside. This man's got a crisis protocol like he's running a secret spy network. Pony and Johnny follow the plan, but it's not a chill vibe. The train ride feels like the longest Fortnite storm circle ever. Pony's freezing, Johnny's zoning out, and neither of them has any clue what's next. They eventually reach the church, which is creepy in an abandoned horror movie kind of way, but it's safe. Safe-ish. They settle in, and Pony finally starts to process everything. He's like, wow, we're fugitives now. This is my life. Cool, cool, cool. By the end of Chapter 4, Pony and Johnny are stuck in this limbo of fear, guilt, and survival mode. They're scared of getting caught, scared of what they've done, and scared of what's coming next. It's like they're in the worst episode of Survivor ever, except instead of outlasting their enemies, they're just hoping not to get arrested, or worse. This whole thing is starting to feel less like their story and more like a bad dream they can't wake up from. And that's where we're at. These boys are out here playing life on hard mode, and the stakes just keep getting higher. You're rooting for them, but you're also like, dang, when do they catch a break? Spoiler, it's not anytime soon. Alright, so chapters 5 and 6 of The Outsiders are where things get super intense, like, the boys go from living in a low-budget crime movie to starring in a full-blown action drama. We're talking DIY haircuts, sneaky Dally moments, and literal flames. Let's get into it. Ponyboy wakes up in the abandoned church on J Mountain, and it's giving big-time horror movie vibes. The place is dusty, spooky quiet, and about 2 bats short of being the Batcave. Johnny's already up, looking like he hasn't slept in days because, surprise, being a teenage fugitive isn't exactly restful. He's got some supplies from the store, bread, bologna, and a paperback of Gone with the Wind. Yep, Johnny's out here planning for a literary book club in the middle of a manhunt. Pony's like, cool, I guess, but he's way more stressed about his hair. His hair is everything to him. It's his greaser pride, his identity, his thing. Then Johnny drops the bomb, they have to cut and bleach Pony's hair. Pony flips. He's all, you're telling me we killed a guy, ran away, and now I'm supposed to look like some off-brand Draco Malfoy? But Johnny's not hearing it. He's like, dude, the fuzz is looking for 2 greasers, not 2 random kids cosplaying as the before characters in a makeover montage. So, snip snip, bleach bleach, and bam, Pony's rocking the worst dye job ever. Johnny trims his own hair too, but it's more sad barbershop practice dummy than style icon. The days blur together after that. It's a lot of laying low, eating bologna sandwiches, and reading Gone with the Wind. Pony starts vibing with the story, he's into the gallant southern gentleman thing, and it gives him some new feels about bravery. Johnny's all quiet and deep, comparing the characters to Dally, which is kind of wild because Dally's more chaotic street samurai than southern gentleman, but hey, Johnny sees something in him. They watch sunsets together too, which sounds sweet, but Pony's also getting mega homesick. He misses his brothers, his crew, and normal life, you know, the kind where he wasn't hiding in an old church eating processed meat like it's a survival game. A few days in, Dally shows up, and it's like the human embodiment of chaos has entered the building. He's smirking, waving his heater, a gun, not a space heater, and talking like they're on the lam for fun. He gives Pony a letter from Soda Pop, which is super heartfelt and full of we miss you, bro energy. Pony's tearing up, realizing his brothers are probably losing their minds back home. Dally fills them in on the Greaser SOC drama too. Turns out, tensions are so high there's gonna be a rumble, basically a WWE SmackDown without the ring. Greasers versus Socs, winner takes, well, dignity, I guess. Dally also says Cherry's been helping them. Yep, the SOC princess is feeding Dally intel, which is like finding out your favorite hero has a secret alliance with the villain. Wild. Johnny, sweet summer child that he is, suddenly announces he wants to turn himself in. Dally's like, what? Are you trying to speedrun jail? Johnny's all, it's the right thing to do, and Pony's kind of in shock because Johnny's stepping up in a big way. Dally doesn't agree, he knows the system's rigged against kids like them. But before they can argue about it too much, fate throws them a plot twist. They roll back to the church, and it's literally on fire. Flames are shooting everywhere, and it looks like Bowser just went full rage mode on the place. Pony and Johnny are freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on, when they hear screaming. Turns out, a group of kids is trapped inside. A crowd's gathered, and the adults are all standing there like NPCs with broken AI, doing nothing. Pony doesn't even think, he just bolts into the church. Johnny's right behind him, and even Dally's like, well, I guess we're doing this. Inside, it's a nightmare, smoke everywhere, heat cranked up to lava level, and kids crying. Pony and Johnny go full hero mode, scooping up these little kids and shoving them out the windows. It's chaotic, but they're killing it. Johnny especially goes hard, making sure every kid gets out, even when a piece of burning timber comes crashing down on him. Pony's coughing, barely able to see, but they get all the kids out. Then Dally yanks Pony out the window like he's an emergency exit and tells him to stop trying to be a hero. Next thing Pony knows, he's waking up in an ambulance. He's covered in soot, coughing up smoke, and the paramedic's like, congrats, kid, you just became a local legend. Turns out, people are calling Pony and Johnny heroes now, which is ironic because, you know, they're still fugitives. Dally's in another ambulance, being his usual I don't need anyone's self, even though he's clearly banged up. Johnny, though, Johnny's in bad shape. He got hit hard by that falling timber, and it's not looking good. Pony's heart sinks because Johnny's the last person who deserves this kind of luck. At the hospital, Pony reunites with Derry and Soda Pop, and it's an emotional wreck. Derry, the guy who's usually as soft as a brick wall, straight up cries when he sees Pony. That's when Pony realizes something big. Derry isn't just bossy because he likes yelling, he's scared of losing the only family he has left. Pony finally gets it, and it's a whole Hallmark moment wrapped in soot and tears. And that's where things leave off. Pony and Johnny went from hiding out to saving lives, flipping their whole narrative upside down. But it's not all sunshine and hero badges, Johnny's fate is hanging by a thread, and the SOC Greaser Rumble is still looming like a boss fight they're not ready for. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over, and the stakes are only getting crazier. Alright, so chapters 7 and 8 of The Outsiders are like flipping through a Netflix series where every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and you're constantly yelling at the screen. The vibes swing between sweet, heavy, and straight up chaotic, so let's dive in. First off, Ponyboy and his brothers are chilling at the hospital, trying to recover from everything that's gone down. Pony's a mess, physically, emotionally, mentally. You know when you're playing an RPG and you've taken too much damage, but you're out of healing potions? That's Pony right now. Reporters show up, and they're all up in everyone's business, snapping pics and asking questions like they're trying to win a Pulitzer. Pony's feeling like a deer caught in headlights, but Soda Pop? Oh, he's eating this up. He's flashing smiles and cracking jokes like he's the star of a reality show. Soda Pop's got that I'm too hot for bad vibes energy, and honestly, it's iconic. Derry, meanwhile, is doing his usual big brother shtick, trying to keep things under control. But you can tell he's stressed, even if he's doing that tough guy act. Pony notices, for the first time, how much pressure Derry's under, and it hits different. Derry's been playing the parent card ever since their parents passed, and now he's got to deal with 2 injured kids, a rumble on the horizon, and a possible murder charge for Johnny. Like, someone get this man a vacation, or at least a nap. Speaking of Johnny, things take a sharp turn into heartbreak territory when the boys find out he's not doing great. Remember how he saved all those kids in the fire? Yeah, turns out being a hero comes with consequences, because Johnny's in critical condition. The doctors aren't sugarcoating it either, they're like, this kid's hanging by a thread. Pony's shook. Johnny's his bestie, his ride or die, the Robin to his Batman. And now he might lose him? The feels are too real. At this point, life's throwing curveballs faster than Sonic sprinting through Green Hill Zone. To make it worse, Pony and his brothers get visited by the cops and some social workers. They're asking all these questions about whether Derry's fit to take care of Pony and Soda. Pony's like, hello? My brother's basically been carrying the weight of the world on his back, and you want to separate us? It's stressful, but Derry holds it together, doing his best responsible adult impression. Pony realizes just how much Derry loves him, even if it doesn't always come across in the nicest way. Later, the boys find out that Johnny's mom is trying to see him at the hospital. And look, Johnny's mom is the literal worst, like, if toxic was a person, it'd be her. She's all about guilt-tripping and throwing shade, and Johnny? He's not having it. He flat out refuses to see her, and you can't blame him. Dally's in the hospital too, recovering from some burns, and he's hyped about the upcoming rumble. This guy is wild. He's like, yeah, I'm stuck in a hospital bed, but you better believe I'm gonna throw hands with the Socs. He's basically the boss fight you didn't ask for but secretly love. Things get even heavier when Pony and 2-Bit visit Johnny. Johnny's fading, and it's crushing to watch. He's lying there, pale and broken, but he's still Johnny, kind, thoughtful, and way too wise for his age. He asks for Gone with the Wind, and Pony realizes it's because Johnny's clinging to that idea of gallant heroes even while he's in the middle of his own tragedy. Johnny also tells Pony something that hits like a gut punch: he doesn't want to die. He's only 16, and life's barely started for him. It's one of those moments where you realize how unfair the world can be. On the way out, 2-Bit and Pony run into Johnny's mom, and phew, it's a scene. She's yelling, accusing, and throwing the most toxic energy around like it's confetti. 2-Bit steps up to defend Johnny, telling her to back off, and Pony's just standing there, furious. He realizes how lucky he is to have dairy and soda, even if things aren't perfect. Sure, they argue, but at least they love each other. Johnny's mom? She's out here treating her kid like he's a burden, and it's infuriating. The final gut punch of these chapters comes when Dally begs 2-Bit for his switchblade. It's a weird moment, but Dally's dead serious. He's got that look in his eye that screams, I'm about to do something reckless. 2-Bit doesn't even argue, he hands it over, and you can tell Dally's gearing up for whatever chaos comes next. He's loyal to a fault, and if that means going full rogue to protect his crew, so be it. Pony's left to process everything: Johnny's condition, the upcoming rumble, and the fact that his whole world is on fire. It's overwhelming, but he's still holding on to hope. Barely. These chapters are all about loyalty, love, and the weight of being stuck in a system that doesn't care about you. It's heavy stuff, but the boys? They're not giving up. Not yet. Alright, chapters 9 and 10 of The Outsiders are the kind of emotional roller coaster that'll have you screaming one minute and ugly crying the next. It's like when your favorite anime throws in a sudden tragic backstory right before the final battle, things go down hard. Let's hit it. First, it's Rumble Night, baby, and the greasers are gearing up like it's the Super Bowl of street fights. Ponyboy's not exactly feeling it, though. He's still worn out from all the recent drama, and his brain's like, bro, maybe sit this one out? But nah, Pony's got that ride-or-die energy for his crew, so he powers through. The greasers roll up in squads, ready to throw down. Dally, fresh out of the hospital, pulls a move straight out of Fast and Furious and sneaks out to join the fight. Dude's basically taped together with spit and determination, but he's ready to throw hands anyway. The Socs show up looking all smug, like they just got out of an Abercrombie catalog. The tension is so thick you could cut it with 2-Bit's switchblade. Pony's looking at them, thinking about how they've got nice cars, money, and perfect hair, while the greasers are out here just trying to survive. The fight kicks off, and it's absolute chaos, fists flying, people shouting, and the occasional dramatic slow-mo punch, at least in my head. Pony's in the thick of it, trying not to get clocked too hard. It's giving Smash Brothers energy, with everyone going full tilt for victory. And guess what? The greasers win. Yep, they send the Socs running like they just got hit with a blue shell in Mario Kart. Everyone's hyped, but Pony's barely hanging on. He's feeling dizzy and weak, like his health bar's flashing red. Dally grabs him and is like, come on, we've got to see Johnny. Because while they've been throwing punches, Johnny's been lying in a hospital bed, and it's not looking good. They speed over to the hospital, and Dally is basically breaking every traffic law ever, driving like he's in Grand Theft Auto. They make it just in time to see Johnny, but it's heartbreaking. Johnny's pale and barely hanging on. He knows what's up, he's not making it out of this one. Pony's sitting there, trying not to cry, and Johnny tells him something that's about to become iconic: stay gold, Ponyboy. Stay gold. It's like he's reminding Pony to hold on to the good parts of himself, even when life's trying to beat them out of him. And then, Johnny dies. Just like that. It's like the screen freezes, and the sound cuts out. Dally loses it. This dude, who's always so tough and unshakable, suddenly breaks. He storms out, and Pony's left there, stunned and shattered. It's one of those moments that doesn't feel real, even though it just punched you in the gut. Pony somehow stumbles his way home, completely out of it. He's running on autopilot, not even sure how he's still standing. When he gets back, he tells the gang that Johnny's gone, and the room goes dead silent. No one knows what to say. What can you say? It's like a game where you've lost your best player, and nothing feels right anymore. But wait, it gets worse. Dally's spiraling, and when Dally spirals, it's bad news. He calls the gang, and his voice is shaking. He's just robbed a store and is on the run, which is basically Dally's way of saying, I'm done with all of this. The guys rush out to find him, and it's like a race against time. They spot Dally in a park, and he's got a gun. The cops are closing in, and Dally? He's not backing down. Pony realizes what's about to happen, but it's too late. Dally raises the gun, it's not even loaded, but the cops don't know that, and they shoot him. Just like that, Dally's gone. He went out the only way he thought he could, in a blaze of glory that's more tragic than anything. Pony's watching all this, and his brain just shuts down. It's too much. Johnny's gone. Dally's gone. His world feels like it's crumbling faster than a Jenga tower in slow motion. He passes out, and when he wakes up, he's back home, surrounded by his brothers. But nothing feels right anymore. These chapters hit like a truck. They're all about loss, loyalty, and how sometimes life doesn't play fair. Pony's left trying to make sense of it all, but the truth is, there's no easy way to deal with what he's been through. Stay gold? At this point, it feels impossible, but maybe that's the whole point. Alright, so chapters 11 and 12 of The Outsiders are like the epilogue of an emotional boss battle. The chaos has simmered down, but Ponyboy's life? Still a hot mess. Let's break it down. Pony's home, but the dude is wrecked. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it's like his stamina bar is fully drained, and someone just turned off the console. He's spending most of his time in bed, zoning out like he's watching reruns of his worst memories on a loop. At one point, Randy, the chill SOC from earlier, shows up, and things get real awkward real fast. Randy's trying to talk about the upcoming court hearing, but Pony's brain is straight up glitching. He starts saying wild stuff like Johnny's not dead, and Randy's looking at him like, bro, you good? Spoiler, he's not good. See, Pony's so deep in denial, he might as well be starring in his own soap opera. He's convincing himself that Johnny's still alive and that he's the one who killed Bob. It's his brain's weird way of coping, like when you rage quit a game and try to blame the lag. Derry and Soda Pop are watching him spiral, but they're not sure what to do. They're just hoping he'll snap out of it before the court date. Speaking of the trial, it's surprisingly low-key. Pony's expecting some Law and Order level drama, but instead, the judge is super chill and barely asks him any questions. The focus is more on whether Derry's doing a decent job as a guardian. Spoiler, he is. The court basically says, cool, y'all can stay together, and Pony's relieved, but he's still stuck in his feels. The whole thing feels like a filler episode, important to the plot, but not what you came for. Back at school, Pony's struggling big time. His grades are tanking, his teachers are side-eyeing him, and he's just not himself. Some Socs even try to pick a fight with him, but instead of throwing hands, Pony straight up pulls a glass bottle on them. It's giving don't test me energy, but it's also a red flag. 2-Bit steps in, all, chill, bro, this isn't you, and Pony's like, maybe it is now. Dark times, my dude. The real turning point comes when Soda Pop snaps. He's been trying to keep the peace between Pony and Derry, but the constant bickering has him losing it. In a dramatic moment straight out of a family drama, Soda runs out of the house, and Pony and Derry chase after him. Soda breaks down, saying he's tired of being caught in the middle, and it's a wake-up call for both brothers. They realize they've been so caught up in their own problems that they've been ignoring Soda's feelings. It's a big we're all in this together moment, and yeah, it's corny, but also really sweet. By the end, Pony starts to pull himself together. He picks up Gone with the Wind and finally processes Johnny's last words, stay gold. Inspired, he decides to write about his experiences for a school project. And guess what? That project? It's literally the book you just read. Pony's story becomes a way for him to deal with everything that's happened and, hopefully, help others understand what it's like to live his life. So, yeah, it's a rough ride, but Pony comes out stronger. The message? Life's hard, but if you can stay gold, stay true to yourself, you'll make it through. It's not the happiest ending, but it's real, and sometimes, that's what matters most.